So I graduated from college in the mid-2000s. I've always been very creative, but basically when I was getting ready to go to college, it was like, yeah, you can't make any money in the arts, so don't waste your time. So I graduated, I went to an admin program and graduated, and so in the mid-2000s, just for a reference sake, Twitter had just been invented and Google was still in its infancy. I know, like, where did time go? So I was 23 roughly and looking for my first real job, not in the arts because again, it doesn't pay. But as a new graduate, I didn't have a lot of experience. But my sister was a part-time university professor and she worked in a lab, and so she did interviews and she taught, and so she gave me advice. She said, okay, so put a section at the bottom of your resume that says other skills and put there that you play guitar because it shows dedication to building a skill, which is presumably a desirable trait in the working world. Foreshadowing. So I did that, and then I got a job interview. So it was for a standard admin assistant role, and the interviewer was this middle-aged man who was just not really enthusiastic. He was disengaged and just kind of going through the motions. So he asked me a lot of the standard interview questions, which I had prepared for, and I gave my prepared answers. And then he asked me a very unusual question that I was not prepared for. He asked me very accusingly, how do I know you're not just going to quit this job in 3 months to go off on tour? Because of course, that's what everyone who plays guitar does. We're all just waiting for that magic moment 3 months into the job. Bye, it's tour time! So I was caught completely off guard because I did not prepare for that question. And I was much less confident and not as well spoken back then. So I was kind of just like, I wouldn't do that. I'm not even that good, seriously, listen to me play. But that question signaled to me that it was not okay, it was not safe, and it was not welcome for me to be anything other than a good little cog in their corporate machine. Unsurprisingly, I did not get that job. But because of that accusation, that attack on this really significant part of myself, it led me to birth my first alter ego. And I created a pseudonym under which to do my art, which served as a bonus of giving me a space to explore my voice and my ideas. And it could be whatever it wanted to be, whatever it needed to be. It was part real self and part a character that I aspired to be. So I continued on writing and making music and doing design and podcasts, all those things that Jen mentioned from my bio that I forgot that she was going to tell you about. I might have eventually invented this alter ego on my own through natural evolution, but that interviewer kind of sparked me, gave me a jump start. So it was kind of like a backhanded gift. But a couple of years later, I moved from my hometown of Oshawa to Toronto, and things would change for me a lot. So fast forward a few years, I'm now 27, and I stumbled into an autism diagnosis unexpectedly. Fast forward a few more years, I'm now 33. I've been living in Toronto for 10 years. I've come out of my shell a lot more because there's a lot more going on. And I even took some improv classes. So I had a lot more experiences, met lots of new, diverse, and unique people, and among them, many, or at least some queer, non-binary, transgender people. And in a way, these people serve to do kind of the opposite of what that interviewer did, because instead of making me feel unsafe and unwelcome, and like I needed to hide parts of myself and protect them, these people literally opened the door and created and held this space and welcomed others into it. So they welcomed me into that space to explore myself and my world and the world at large, and made it safe to explore things that were, either maybe still subconscious, floating around in the back of my mind, things I hadn't quite been ready to fully consider for myself because the world didn't really encourage that so much yet. Getting better. And it gave me the courage and conviction over several months to realize my most authentic self. Yes, I'm 33, I'm 1 year into a new job, and I began hormone replacement therapy. Thankfully, my boss and my coworkers were very supportive, so I got very lucky because a lot of trans people are not so lucky, and that's really difficult. And transitioning brought the opportunity to choose a new name. So my birth name was decidedly more masculine and didn't fit anymore. So been having spent this decade kind of living these two lives of Lacey the accountant and Lacey the everything else creative and fun and cool, I had this opportunity to pick a name that could be a little bit more of an intersection. I couldn't quite yet completely converge these two worlds, but I was getting closer. This new name, this new me, was part real and part alter ego coming together in one package. And just as I was finally starting to feel confident as Lacey, this was in 2019, what happened. The pandemic struck, but for a lot of others, the pandemic created an opportunity and made it possible and safer for many other queer, transgender, neurodivergent people to come out, to kind of figure themselves out and have a bit more space and safety to explore that. So last year, at age 39, I decided that I wanted to end the year on a high note, so I looked at my bucket list, and one of the things on there was I wanted to try stand-up comedy at least once, even if I completely bombed. So I took a class, and it went a lot better than I was expecting. It was a revelation and certainly a good button to conclude my 30s. And I also tacked on an unofficial ADHD diagnosis. Through comedy and performing, I found out that there are yet more bits of alter egos within me that still had not gotten enough chances to come out and play. And I'm finding more and more ways to let them out through all these different things that I'm doing. This very weekend, I'm starting a beginner's puppetry class because I just have to keep finding weird, creative, silly new things to do. I was not ready to let go of my 30s. People who are neurodivergent, queer, or gender divergent, or possibly all of the above, we tend to be late bloomers a lot of the time, and we tend to experience social setbacks and resets. In some ways, I do feel robbed of my youth, but I've also really made up a lot of lost time, I feel like. And I can tell you that my knees definitely feel like they're 40 plus, but a lot of the rest of me doesn't. Not yet anyways. Obviously, our culture places a lot of significance on youth. And many of us, myself included, the latter half of my 30s were kind of wiped out by the pandemic. But a lot of us, if we haven't achieved these certain cultural milestones like marriage and home ownership and good careers, we haven't hit those marks by 30 or 35, a lot of us feel like failures. And that's really tragic because for most of us, for a lot of us, we're not even halfway through our life at that point. I am 40 now, I can't take it back. But through exploring all these alter egos and going through this really big attempt of career change from accounting to public speaking and performance, I'm finding my real self and more each day and trying to bring more and more of that to the world and to my life and to my job as I can. And it has been a real honor to get to learn and grow through my own reflection as well as through people that I've gotten to meet and learn from, both younger and older than me.